has restored direct diplomatic ties with Libya. Not so far as to send ambassadors to each other's capitals yet, but the U.S. did open a liaison office in Tripoli on Monday, and that marks the highest diplomatic presence for America there in 25 years. There are plenty of unresolved issues between the two countries, though. Let's bring in Omar Turbi, an expert on U.S.-Libya relations, for a discussion on this. Mr. Turbi is in Los Angeles. Thank you very much for joining us. First off, why now? Why do you think direct diplomatic relations have been restored between the two countries precisely at this moment?
Well, I think we've been going through a series of diplomatic exchanges in the past 12 months or so. We have had our diplomatic relations with Libya for a long time. They've never been severed, as a matter of fact. As you can see, it says direct diplomatic ties as opposed to indirect. For example, we have had our diplomatic activities served under the Belgian embassy in Libya, meaning an intersection. So any communications between the United States and Libya have always taken place through a third party, the Belgian embassy. Now it's been upgraded to a liaison office, meaning the commercial attaché as well as the diplomatic representative of the United States can communicate directly with the Libyan government. I guess the timing is good because it's important to recognize that July 22nd coming up, there will be another payment of $4 million per each victim of the Lockerbie that will be paid. So that's another deadline that that the Libyan government has to meet and has to transfer funds to the victims of Lockerbie.
What is in it for the United States now? There's an opportunity for American companies to invest in the oil economy of Libya once the embargo was lifted a few weeks ago, and of course now diplomatic ties directly between the two countries make this easier.
Yes, I can't say that business is conducted on a normal basis at this time. I would predict, and I think there's going to be a definite change, or hopefully a specific change, come late August, early September, possibly sometime in that time frame when the Libyan government would have its own representatives in Washington, and then I'm hoping that the sanctions will not carry the status of being suspended, but will be completely and totally lifted.
And what about those allegations that Libya plotted to kill the de facto ruler of Saudi Arabia, Crown Prince Abdullah? That constituted a roadblock for U.S.-Libya relations a few weeks ago.
Well, there were discussions on that in Tripoli Monday the 28th, meaning today, with Gaddafi, but there were not any extensive discussions. I think they touched on it. We Americans, I believe, we have no dog in this fight. I think rivalry has existed between Arab leaders for a long time, and I'm sure it will continue to exist. I think it's probably better for us to rise above that and pay attention to things that are substantially more important. It's very important to recognize that relations between the United States and Libya are really taking a very interesting turn. For instance, Libya has concurred with the United States gesture to help the Sudanese. So they're providing something in the range of $100 million of aid to the Sudanese victims from some of the issues and problems that they have at this time.
All right, a new chapter apparently in the relations between the U.S. and Libya. Many thanks for your analysis and joining us from Los Angeles. Omar Turbi with the latest on those diplomatic ties being restored. You're watching CNN Today. Up next, a check of the latest market numbers from Asia as we await an interest rate decision from the U.S.
And as Iraq's oil exports surge, what happens